So for anyone who's lucky enough to have not bumped into me on LinkedIn, where I'm shamelessly relentless, or if you haven't seen the recent YouTube video that I did for the Marketing Meetup, I thought I'd best start with a little bit of an intro about who I am and why you can trust what I'm about to say. So I'm going to wind the clock back to 1988. So this is my story of how I came to be here. So that's me, 1988, little 6-year-old David, as I was known back then. I got bang into Scrabble a couple of years after that photo was commissioned. Words, you make anything with them, just amazing, fascinated me. So I was hooked. I was reading all the funny stuff as well, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, mad names, crazy scenarios. As a 9-year-old, that's just hilarious. Started writing funny stuff as well. That's a poem about dogs that I wrote that my nan put on her bathroom wall for about 10 years. But it has a really sinister turn at the end. The dog gets put down, psycho child. And then all of that fun that I loved about words and writing, it kind of got sapped away because I wanted to get into journalism. So I had to start taking it a bit seriously. So this I didn't write that, although that's something I do as a copywriter now, alliteration, disappearing doorknob. So I did work experience when I was 15 at the Birmingham News. I then did a journalism degree when all of the tools kind of looked like that. So no social media, no phones. The journos just, quote people on Twitter now, don't they? But then the fun came back because I got a job at a Christmas hamper company. Now, most of my mates still think that I was the chief hamper tester at that hamper company. But I wasn't. I was head of copy for almost 10 years, 2 weeks shy of my 10-year anniversary. It all came crashing down when I was asked to write about the new staff toilets in the staff newsletter. Now, if any of you here ever get asked to write about some toilets, it is your absolute duty to have a bit of fun with those headlines. So just bearing in mind the headlines here, the body copy is just blah, blah. This is what I did. I had a bit of fun with them. So this was my first option. Yeah, that got rejected. They didn't like that. Option 2 was out as well. They hated that. So I went back with them. What about option 3? No, rejected. So it was back and forth, until the bosses at the company decided to write it themselves. And that's what they came up with. So as you can see, I resigned. I was off. It was like, this isn't the place for me anymore. So after 10 years, I became a freelance copywriter. And I vowed from that day forward to only ever work on projects that were full of fun and humour and laughter and silliness. So that's what I've been doing ever since. So yeah, let's start with the why. I think we need humour, or we all need a bit of humour in our copy. And I think there's 3 big reasons. And the first one is just how disarming it can be. So my little boy, Jack, he's 2, can't stand Weetabix. He'll have Sugar Puffs. He'll have all the others, Cocoa Pops. Will not abide Weetabix. Well, it's horrible, isn't it? Tastes like cardboard. But I'm sure a few of us have tried to hear meow every morning. Meow. And he never says it, but I can see in his eyes, he's going, this is amazing! Because it's just taking his mind off it for that split second. And you can do exactly the same with humour. If you just drop in a little joke, make people smile, it takes their mind off the fact that you're trying to sell to them. So it's a great way of disarming people. The second reason is how effective it is. So when you make someone laugh or make them smile with a bit of humour, it does 4 things. So it gives them those nice, good feelings, those endorphins in the brain. They associate that good feeling with you, with your brand, with the person who delivered that good feeling. They then see, oh, you know what, there's real humans behind that brand. And people buy from people, don't they? So they kind of build trust. And lastly, which most of the really funny brands out there, the likes of Paddy Power, the likes of Innocent, people don't read their stuff just because they want to buy a smoothie. They turn, the bottoms of Innocent cartons and it says, stop looking at my bottom. They become fans of the brand. So it's really, really effective as well. And the third reason, which is the biggie, and it's the only statistics I use because I don't really use facts. It's all about stories for me. Most brands don't do funny. So this is a research study by Kantar Market Research Agency. Now this is a study in the amount of humour in advertising over the past 20 odd years. Now, if you look at that top line, so that's advertising with no intended humour in. So it was already quite low. So it was like 45%. So that's now at 68%. So ads are gradually getting less humour, less intended humour, but it's the very bottom line, which is the most important one, I think, which 20 years ago, it was at 15%. It's down to 7. So 7 in 100 brands are using humour within their advertising, within their marketing. So there's a massive opportunity for you to use it within your marketing, your advertising, and stand out. So that is the why. Now onto the where. So I'm delving into 3 places where I think you can find the funny. We can all find the funny. And the first place is in self-deprecation. So it's having a little bit of a laugh at yourself. Now, when I was about 15, we had a new English teacher in year 10. And I'll never, ever forget it, because we were all stood outside the classroom. And he comes walking over. A lot more Scouse than me, walking over. We were like audible gasps from me and my classmates, because he had the biggest, most bulging eyes any of us had ever seen. But he called it out. He went, "All right, boys, yeah, I know I've got massive eyes, but you can laugh about it today. Any more piss taken after this, and you'll be in detention." How's that sound? And we were all like, "Oh my God," like we respected him for it. He was the best English teacher ever. And from that day, we were like, he can have a bit of a laugh at himself. No other teacher had done that. So straight away, we warmed to him. And even though, that was 20 years ago, brands have been doing that for young. So this is like back in the 50s. So this is Avis. They knew that they were number 2 to Hertz in the market. So what did they do? They said, yeah, we're number 2, but we try harder. We have to try harder. You can trust us because we graft. We put that extra effort in our stuff. I'm sure we've all seen this one at some point as well. It's in a load of textbooks. So Volkswagen, they owned small. He said, our car's small. Small can be a good thing. Less petrol, cheaper insurance. Is there anyone who doesn't like this man? He's the most undislikable guy because he takes the piss out of himself. He has a laugh, doesn't take life seriously. You can build trust by being honest. So this is how to market the world's worst hostel or the world's worst hotel. You joke about the flaws. You flaunt all the things that you're seemingly bad for. You know that anyone that's going to stay in the Four Seasons, they're not even looking at you anyway. But those travelers on a budget, if they're scrolling through all the different options and you can make them laugh, you've got them. It allows you to get away with murder. Like, how can a chicken shop run out of chicken? But this is how they salvaged it. They just said, yeah, you know what, we fucked up. It happens. But if you're going to go all in, if you're going to do self-deprecation, you have to go all in. And Ryanair are the total masters because they know, like Michael O'Leary, the CEO, he willingly comes out and says, we'd charge you to go to the toilet if we were allowed to. And they're not bothered, and they just own it on the social media. So, yeah, people talking about, any chance you can supply deodorant for passengers? Yeah, mandatory deodorant fee, €49. And they're just relentless with it. It's just non-stop. So seat 11A is notorious now for being, it says when you book a window seat, but there's no window. But they're not asked. They own it, and they actually mention it within their stuff. And as well as having a little bit of a laugh at themselves, it also allows you to turn any negative PR on its head. So this is Michael O'Leary, got smashed in the face with a custard pie outside Brussels airport. Like within an hour, they had that out. So no one can have a go at them because they've already laughed at the whole scenario. The piss has already been taken out of it. So no one can do it to them. And the best one is, if anyone has a laugh at you or anyone has a go at you, you can take the piss out of them because you're doing it and it's not unexpected. Yeah. So they are absolutely ace on Twitter. And the 2 big questions you have to ask yourself if you want to do self-deprecation and have a bit of a laugh at yourself. just be honest about what your flaws are, what your negative things are, and think, would our target audience really be you know, if those flaws are going to make us famous, is it really going to damage any relationship? Ryanair aren't bothered. They know that their target audience, they ain't going to be flying first class with British Airways. They just want to go on a stag weekend to Benidorm or a quick, cheap business trip. So they're not bothered about having a little bit of fun with it. So that's place number one. Place number two is in the enemy. It's picking a bit of a fight, and there's loads of brands out there picking fights at the moment. Now, when I was a kid, a few stories here harken back to my childhood, aren't they? But yeah, when I was a kid, the main route, I was brought up in Birkenhead, the main route from my little village to the town centre, there was this little carpet shop called Taffy's. Yeah, there it is. Took that off Street View. So that's it on the left. And at the end of that long road is our town centre. Now, opposite that, so on the right of this photo, that carpet shop had been there for years, but a load of derelict houses were dragged down all of a sudden, and this big giant national chain, Carpet World, was put up. That's kind of what it looked like. Yeah, I should stick to words, shouldn't I? That was my rough drawing. But yeah, Carpet World appeared out of nowhere, and they were like, hang on, like it's hampering our business here. You couldn't miss this Carpet World. So what they did, they created this billboard and put it on their own shop. I'm no good at Photoshop, but this is actually what it looked like. So when I was going to Birkenhead town on the bus, top deck of the bus, like as a 9-year-old, that was the best thing in the world. I was like, oh, that's amazing. Because it does three things. It positions you against them as cheaper. And the key thing is, it made me smile as a kid. I was like, they're having a pop at them. Like, no brands had ever really done that that I'd seen on telly or anything. So that was amazing. That was like a first world kind of view of brands having a little bit of a dig at the opposition. Flora Plant Butter have been doing it really nicely, picking a fight with real dairy butter. So they've been saying, yeah, skip the cow, skip that weird cow bit, that's weird. You've done a great, look at this line. Commuted through a cow. So that was in the big train station, 17 miles wide, big ad. So that's just them having a pop at real butter. P&O have done it great as well. Don't know if anyone saw this. This was last summer. So this is them positioning themselves against flying. So they parked these ad vans up outside, I think it was Stansted Airport. Yeah, Stansted Airport. Just having a pop at how shit flying is. Look at that. So relatable, isn't it? It's talking about the crap elbow room that you get. And they also had a pop at rail travel as well. So this was outside St Pancras. They did that as well. The fire exit ones get me every time. You've all seen it, haven't we? As the trains go, zoom, 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 fire exit, zoom, zoom. Yeah, funny. Aldi are the masters, though. Anyone familiar with Aldi? Yeah, on social. They're just unreal. So this is not only Tesco, so they're talking about how cheap they are compared to Tesco. They've had a pop at Mackey's recently, saying how dodgy their ice cream machine is. Yeah, they've been having digs at Pizza Hut. Love that copy, so good. But the most famous one was a couple of years ago when this happened. National news, it was everywhere, wasn't it? Cuthbert versus Colin. So Aldi, they know. People who shop at Marks and Spencer's, although they probably do now, don't they? They go to Aldi for the meat. The meat's a bit cheaper, isn't it? But they'll still go to M&S. They were like, right, we're going to go for you, Marks and Spencer's. So this was the day, the day that M&S said that they were going to take them to court for copyright infringement and intellectual property theft. Aldi had that out, but they just stuck with it. All in the same day, this. How much of a laugh is their social media team having there? Just nuts. And other brands got involved with it as well. Free advertising. All from just having a bit of a laugh and a bit of a pop at Marks and Spencer's. And they've kept it going as well. This is like April just gone. 2 years later. They're just not letting it lie because they know, right? We can just keep having pops at Marks and Spencer's. And then last month or a couple of months back, this could be us. Just keeping it going, just stoking the fire, just amazing. So the biggies to get, if you're gonna pick fights with other brands, and they don't even have to be other brands out there. You can pick a fight with systems and behaviours, and just point out other things that you don't agree with. And as long as you're sure that your audience don't agree with them as well, you can kind of align with them, and they can become part of your little family as well. Then. As long as you're 100% sure that what you're positioning against they align with, you can do this really well. So I've got 4 enemies that I go for on social media quite regularly. So if you follow me on LinkedIn, you might have seen a couple of these. So I'm going at AI at the moment. AI chatbots, basically saying, yeah, don't pay through the nose for a swanky website and then just press a button for all your words. It's going to make you look a little bit scruffy. Idiots on LinkedIn as well. Go after them. I get that all the time. Oh, I've done a typo there. I'm putting stuff out every day, mate. Give me a break. Meddling clients. We've all got them, haven't we? Happens to me. So there is. Can we take out that apostrophe? No, mate. It's staying in. Makes you sound cool. And the shit clients as well. The ones who think they know better. So that's the second place. Place number 3 is in the opposite. Now, I've got a client who occasionally just comes to me and says, can we just party cannon this? And all he's saying to me is, we need to do what none of this brand's competitors are doing. We need to stand out just by being different, nothing else. So this one's slightly different. I haven't got really any brand examples. This is a suspicion that I have had for quite a long time, and this is that suspicion. And I've been building a dossier of evidence to prove that this is true, apart from Leslie. Leslie gets a free pass. I'll get on to Leslie in a minute. But here's why I think all estate agents are aliens. So I've got Exhibit 1. They use this strange, weird, unhuman lingo, don't they? They don't call people sellers. They call them vendors. Isn't that odd? Weird, isn't it? They talk about homes boasting. No one likes a boaster. We all hate boasters, don't they? Yet these estate agents talk about, yes, this home boasts flexible living space. And they also use some lingo from the 1800s. Insane. A well-appointed one-bedroom ground floor flat. Yeah, craziness. They've also got about 7,000 words for tiny. Now, my absolute favourite is the deceptively spacious. This tiny property is deceptively spacious. However, this alien on the next slide, he completely lost the plot, because he forgot the spacious bit. Deceptive house. No one wants to live there, do they? Absolute snide of a house. Yeah. No thanks. They also occasionally revert to some of their home planet lingo. Look at that at the end. Like, that's the lettings manager who's lost the plot, writing so many flat property descriptions. Now, the next slide. If you're from anyone from Coventry here, yeah, we might have. Yeah, you might be familiar with this next slide. And I've just got one question. What fucking planet is Paul Chillingsworth from? Like, how did that phone call go with the sign writer? Hello, Paul. Oh, yeah, it's Gary from the sign writers here. You know, you wanted your headline in 3,000 point type on this sign. It's not really going to fit. Make it happen. It's insane. Like, nuts. So that's the crazy kind of alienish stuff that these estate agents do. However, I think there's a hole in my suspicions because of our friend Leslie Hooks. Now, these are two estate agents who are not Leslie Hooks. We'll get onto her in a sec. Now, these estate agents, I'm sure we've all seen these intros, haven't we, to property descriptions. Move Residential are thrilled to be the agents of choice. Really formulaic, formal, horrific sounding stuff. Jones and Chapman are delighted to bring to market, just talking about themselves. Now, what Leslie Hooks does, she uses really tenuous one-line jokes that relate to the road that the properties are on. Have a look at this. Now, when I first saw that, I was like, oh, Leslie, what are you doing there? Like, proper cringing. I felt like my stomach, like, doubling over on itself. I was like, oh, that's bad. But then I scrolled to the next one, and she'd done it again. Any take that, fans? She's relentless, and because she's done it again in the third one. Biblical puns. Biblical. She really doesn't give a shit. She's amazing, Leslie. And again, I think I'd had about 20 examples to show you. I've narrowed it down to 5. Any chat up line fans? And the last one, back to the Kings. Self-referential. Leslie knows she's gone too far with that one. But I think Leslie is really shrewd. I think she's got her head screwed on. Because while 99% of her competitors are doing stuff in that really formulaic, staid, tired, traditional way, Leslie, by just having a little bit of a laugh and doing things differently, she's going, we're all right, us. Like, we're not going to make this whole process a nightmare. We can have a bit of fun. We'll be easy to deal with. So what she's doing is she's just positioning away from all of those others, and she's doing it really smartly. So the way to do this, this third one, is to really have a good look at all of your competitors, all the rival brands that you're going up against. Just list out all the boring things that they're doing, like Leslie did. She's probably going, oh, they're talking about themselves. Oh, you're delighted to reveal this property. What, talking weird lingo? And she's just flipped it on and said, okay, what if we just do something like a little funny one-liner? She's done it, and it's working for them. They're flying. So to sum up, humour helps you do all of these 6 things. You can create that instant rapport with the audience. You can build trust. You can certainly turn off anyone who isn't likely to be doing business with you. You can flip bad press on its head like Ryanair did. You can make those apologies easier to swallow like KFC. And just like Leslie Hooks has done, you can create that distinctive positioning in the market, which sets you apart from all of your competitors. But before you dive in and say, Dave told me just to write funny shit, don't wade in. You've got to do these 3 things. Like, if you can, survey your audience. So if I was doing it, before this talk, if I'd have had the opportunity to go, yeah, which of these 5 comedians do you like? And I'd like Peter Kay, Ricky Gervais, Lenny Henry, and a few others. I could have kind of gauged the room and gone, oh, maybe that one's a little bit too close to the bone. So if you can do that before you do any type of humour within the brands that you're working with, you can make sure you're not going to put your foot in it too much. You can test stuff out as well in the least impactful place. So like that commuted through a cow, it's like 17 miles wide in a train station. You wouldn't just try it out there. You'd try it out in like maybe a button on the website or an email that's only going to like a small selection of your client base. And then yet the third thing, if you're already a big brand, like the Aldi thing with Marks and Spencer, you'd never see Marks and Spencer going, Aldi, you're shit. It just wouldn't work. But Aldi can do it the other way around because they're the kind of, they're the one that haven't got all of this credence and this, steeped in 150 years of history and tradition. So to recap, this is the end now. So you've learned why you need to find them funny. You've been bombarded with these 3 places, but there were still 9 other headlines before we got to the before we got to the line that the company that I work for, the Christmas hamper company. So should we have a look at the other ones that got rejected? Okay, straight in, no messing. They did not like that one. Bit of toilet humour, not too bad. I didn't present the next one. Step too far there. I'm now just picking film names, aren't I? Yeah, that was off the cards. Although, I really think the next one might have worked. And considering it was a staff newsletter, we could have maybe included the sequel. Would have worked, that wouldn't it? Back in the habit. And then the last one, they hated. It was rejected within milliseconds. Yeah, so that was gone. Yeah, so that's it from me. Shameless plug at the end, apologies. If you want to read funny stuff, I do an email newsletter every other week. So that's where you can get it, at my website. And if you want funny stuff for your brand or anything that you're working for, I've just opened a new copywriting agency called Copy or Die. We do tone of voice, brand positioning, web content, ads, all of that type of stuff. So if you need any help with that type of stuff, email me. And if you've got any writers, I know there's a few at the back, any writers who want to do funny stuff and think of themselves as minor comedians, we're looking for writers who do this stuff as well. So yeah, if you do weird, witty, funny, relatable, unexpected type stuff, and you thought, oh yeah, I want to give that a go professionally, we're looking for writers. So that's the link. We've got a little form on the website. And that's about it from me. Nice one.